Hello, friends, and a happy new year. This is Dune Wars Revival. It's a mod for Civilization 4. I will assume that you are somewhat familiar with the Civilization 4 game. It is quite old, but it's it's a game that I really come back again and again, and I think it's mostly not mostly, and I know that it is because of the mods. The mods that have been created for this are excellent. The Dune one especially has been crafted with so much love, um, and there's others as well which are maybe more popular, and maybe have been developed for longer. But Dune Wars, if you are slightly familiar with the Frank Herbert Dune saga, I feel like there's nothing that's better themed than this. Not even the classic strategy games. Uh, this does borrow a lot from Emperor Battle for Dune, but but the again the love and the attention to the mechanics and the world, yeah, you can see them in this mod. This is excellent. So what I want to do is do maybe the first 50 turns and showcase this a little bit. We're just going to the play now. We'll choose the Arrakis template. The Arrakis map is being constructed in a very interesting way, and we'll talk about it as soon as we get into the game. We get to choose all of the big, either of the big houses, and we'll see them in the game. We get the House of X, which is one of the ones that I like most for whatever reason. I just like their theme. They're themed around science and mechanical units. Um, there might be a good starter. I feel like the House of Vix is very good starting Civ, just because of the science bonus. You get to play with a cool toys a bit earlier than others, maybe, or this is just a feeling that I have. I might be wrong. Um, Now, different civs, each of these civilizations, they have a unique playstyle. They're completely unique. Um, so, and many of them tend to ignore major mechanics from this mod. For example, the Fremen pretty much ignore the desert mechanics. They are free to roam the desert and explore as much as they want. Now, the Bennett Laylax, among other things, ignore the religion mechanics. Again, religion is very unique. Each religion is very unique, and the Laylax, they have their own religion. They cannot switch out of it, so they don't care about anything else. So they basically ignore that. The House Atreides has no spies and ignores the spying mechanics. They can construct buildings that makes their cities really resistant to spies, so they just do their own thing, don't care. Let's play with Harkonnen. Harkonnen is, I don't know, one of those default civs that don't have, they have their unique things that they do, but they don't really ignore any of the major mechanics. Um, we have three leaders to choose from: the Bistraban, Fade, and the Baron. And they're all interesting. You know, Fade, for example, with his aggressive and charismatic. What this does is their units are so much better. They just get really great units that require less XP to be promoted, and combined with the aggressive and the extra generals. Well, they don't get extra generals, but combined with the generals, um, you can have some very high quality units fighting for you. The beast is a bit more geared towards spying, so they have a bit more spy points. I don't think they have any bonuses to the spy units themselves, but the Baron really, his two traits, expansive and organized, really work together uh, with with the strengths of the slavery mechanics that the House Harkonnen employs. So, you know what? There's a lot to talk about. Like there's a lot. We can scroll around and see. Have a lot of things that we can do. We start with ruthless promotion. You gain spy points when conquering cities. Blah 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 blah. Convert slaves from defeated units and so on. An interesting point is that the Harkonnen cannot found Tleilaxus and Zuvism. This translates to we can basically found any religion. Tleilaxu is really unique to the Tleilaxu civilization, so we can found any of the religions, but we probably won't do that because we're going to play on Emperor. I'm only going to play or at least post the first 50 100 or so turns, just so you get a feel of what this is. Um, but the idea is that I just want to showcase this. I don't want to do a long play right now. I would love to. So if there is an interest in long play videos, I will certainly post those. A game can last for several, good hours. Um, okay, so starting screen, Baron Harkonnen. We are expansive and organized. What does that translate to? We'll talk about the map in a second. But what does that translate to? We construct workers faster. That's going to be very relevant. Our cities are a bit healthier. That's again going to be relevant. Um, the House Harkonnen is really based around slavery. Slavery is a big mechanic, and that works internally and externally, so to speak. So against other civilization, but also um, slavery from within. We can oppress our population and basically whip them into working faster. And organized gets a bonus to national wonder production. Espionage units are better at defending our cities, and we get double production speed for a bunch of buildings. Many of them um, we'll have access to many of them very fast. So if we look around, we start here. There's two very important resources, the two main resources, if you will, in this game. One is the spice, and you can see it in the desert, and the second one is water, and you can see the little icons. The water in this mod replaces the food in the base game, and the desert tiles that you see on the left and the right replace the ocean tiles. So if we take our little guy, we cannot go into the desert. This is a lie. We just don't know what's in here, so the computer says, okay, maybe we can plot a route through here, but no. We cannot get into the desert. And we won't be able to do it. You know, there's very few exceptions, but we won't be able to do it. I guess, I think if we beat the resource out of the Fremen, so the Fremen have a special resource that allows them to do a bunch of things, and I think if we can take that resource from the Fremen, we can also traverse the desert with any units. But for most of the time, in order to get into the desert, we need to employ flying units, right? Like this one. This is a scout copter. All it does is scout. Soldiers cannot get into the desert. We need still suits in order to survive. Now, this is a very interesting position because right here we don't have much hills, but we do have a lot of hills. So hills, really, if you look at the yields, the normal rock, let's say the basic plains tile, which is the rock tile in here, has only one hammer, so basically yields nothing important. Desert waste is more valuable than rock. What rock gives, though, is the ability to settle things and build things on it. Hills, though, they or mesas, they do grant more yields than anything else. And more importantly, we are able to construct wind traps upon the messes. So let's just settle in place and take a look at what we have. We can build a bunch of buildings and units, and immediately we start working the messes. Now every palace, and this is where the spice mechanic comes in, every palace has the same produces 2 commerce per spice consumed bonus. This means that if we take a worker, we go to the spice and we construct harvesters to harvest the spice resource. We don't have to have a citizen actually working the spice in order to gain benefits from it. Of course, the spice, the spice does offer, a bit of extra commerce. So the yields of a spice plot is 1 hammer to commerce, yeah, which is okay. Again, a 3 yield tile is quite good for the very start of the game. Even the resource tiles are bad. But the point is, we just need to build harvesters as many as we can, and we get 2 extra commerce in the capital. This is the point. In order to sustain an economy, at least at the very, very beginning, we need to exploit that spice. That the problem is, it does need to be within our cultural boundaries, and so we will have to put some cities down over here in order to get to the spice. Now, before we do that, we're going to need to start developing the city a little bit so that we can start creating settlers and getting there. First thing that we want to do though is get a worker. A worker is built by default in 12 turns, which feels like a lot of turns. 12 is quite a lot. I thought we got a production bonus for these. But never mind, we're going to create a worker. Now let's take a look at the techs. We start with mining and exploration. Each civilization starts with maybe a different combination of starting techs. And the tech tree is quite interesting, and it leads to a lot of decisions throughout the campaign. Even in late game, there's some heavy decisions to be made on where to go in the tech tree. Everything has to have some sort of purpose. We start with mining, which reveals ore. Ore is good for wonders, basically, and also gives like a bit of extra production. And exploration allows us to work desert tiles. Now, in order to exploit spice, we need spice extraction, and so we need to be able to work at the desert tiles, and we need to have the mining tech in order to learn spice extraction. And we also learn to create a refinery, which we build faster as Vladimir Harkonnen. So spice extraction is a priority, and we can get very fast. We can start exploiting the spice very, very fast. Might have been a smart idea to just plop the city here, so we get control over the spice even faster. But mistakes were made. That's okay. But we talked about the wind traps. So the wind traps and the water cache, really. The water cache is the equivalent of the granary, right? The granary stores food, the water cache stores water. So the granary and the wind trap are both very important things for us. I think we actually, we get a production bonus for water caches as well. So the Harkonnens are the only civilization that are able to whip their population into building things, just like the slavery mechanic in the base game. No other civilization is able to do that. So the water cache is important, and we're building a worker, so the water conservation will will allow our worker to build water traps and get even more food. So these things kind of synergize. Another very important, this is the fundamental worker technology, is one of them. Mining is again one of them. Revealing wars and surface mines. We get a bonus to mines, but that's another discussion. As a Harkonnen, I mean. Desert survival is also very important because it allows our workers to create dew collectors and insect farms, which are improvements. They're kind of like farms and pastures in the base game. So this creosote bush, for example, allows us to build a dew collector, which gives a bit of extra water and some commerce. We have no resources right next to us, which is okay in a sense, but we don't care. This isn't such a high priority for us. And then the incense, one, it gives a lot of commerce, but you need to have a decently large city to work this. And it requires a plantation. Plantations are a bit later, somewhere around here. And the benefits are not that good, I feel, of desert plantation. There's other things that are much more valuable. What we want to do is get to oppression. So oppression is our special civic, and we'll talk about civics in a second. So I can just click here, beeline to this. You get water conservation, so our workers can start building wind traps. We can put the water caches in. Water transportation is just, on the way, so to speak. And then Arrakis habitation gives us oppression. Getting to education fast is something that I like to do because it opens up the house library and the film book archives, which the film book archives is a wonder, that it's a science wonder, and it does contribute a lot to the science yield, especially if you want to expand as fast as possible. Um, so yeah, um, we can found any religion. So the faith technology, for example, founds the very first Shai Hulud religion, which is we're praying to the worm. Um, the problem with this is we do not start with mysticism. So we have to learn mysticism. We have to then learn faith. They're both quite, it takes a while. Mysticism doesn't give great bonuses. The monument is not that great. The Stone of Prophecy is a wonder, so it can be a bit of a trap. We have no ore. I don't think the Stone of Prophecy actually builds faster with ore. No, it doesn't. But the point is, other civilizations will get here faster, potentially. Um, and we don't get the benefits of creating wind traps and leveraging our unique position. We might want to also get spice extraction. We do want to get spice extraction as fast as possible. Another thing that education also does, which reminds me, is access to the house libraries, which are a bit more expensive than the monuments. Um, Actually, monuments might be quite useful just to increase our cultural borders. So you see, there's a lot of things that mysticism might be very useful on the long run. So we could go water conservation and then go this route. Maybe we get lucky and found the Shai Hulud. And then we can expand our borders into the desert and start working that spice with spice extraction. On the other hand, though, if we go the education route, then we have access to feudalism, which founds imperial. And now, what imperial does? Imperial is a cultural religion. It yields the most culture out of any other religions. So we can just go the feudalism route and allow that to expand our borders, so we can control the spice. So a lot of good choices. So just because I kind of confuse myself a little bit, I'll just go through water conservation. I know that this is very important for me, and we'll just learn that, and then we'll see. Um, Now, civic trees. At the beginning, you have basically no civics to choose from, and they're all quite meh. Workers build improvements slower. and maintenance costs are quite high, and so on. So this is quite bad. What we have unique to Harkonnen is this one, oppression. So one, our workers will build things 10% faster, hooray. But most importantly, we get bonuses from spice harvesters, so we really like spice, I suppose. We probably won't work spice harvester tiles. We might work mines. We get bonus to mines. But we can sacrifice population to finish production of a city. This is the one. This is the line that we care about. We can whip people into building things faster. So oppression is our unique thing that we need to leverage. All the other things are being unlocked by ticks as times as we learn new things. But the maybe the most impactful one is this Arrakis futures, right? So every civilization at some point has to choose how do we want to handle, let's say, the planet. Do we want to maximize spice exploitation? So then we go the Arrakis spice route. This gives us access to buildings that really increase the yields of the spice that we consume. So, spice silos that gives us flat money for how many, spice resources we control. Or we can go the Arrakis Paradise route. The Arrakis Paradise concentrates on terraforming the planet and turning all this brown garbage into green fields. And the thing about these two is that really, if you choose one, all the civilizations that choose the other will hate you. And there are victory conditions tied to both of them. So either spice monopoly or have a number of terraformed plots under your control. So I feel like this is, again, very, very cool. You can stay neutral, but these two paths really gives bonuses that are so powerful that staying neutral might not be an option. I don't think you can, and I don't see the point of staying neutral. Even with the diplomatic aspects, the computer is the AI is very aggressive, so I don't think that's worth it really. So we're starting on a worker, and so first things first, we need to explore our surroundings, and that's what we're going to do. That's maybe the first part of the game is really this exploring, looking around for. This is a spice bloom, spice blow, spice bloom, spice whatever you want to call it. So this will create even more spice over here. This is a very rich spice area. I kind of regret that I didn't move a bit and settle here, but um, but that's okay. This over here, the botanical testing station, this is really the goodie hut. This is a goodie hut. We can either get some nice things over there, ah, or we get smugglers show up and kill our unit. This little blob here is the sandworm. This is the Shai Hulud that the Fremens pray to and play with. The sandworm, strength 20, very strong compared to our first unit, which is strength 2. So this really will eat anything that walks in the desert unprepared. And again, if we put down spice harvesters, the sandworm will come and eat them. The sandworm will somehow catch and eat the scouts if it catches them off guard. So this is one of the dangers from the desert. Okay, so we got this. We got a plantation. We don't care about that. Disappointing. We don't care about this right now, or at all. We can actually pillage it for, I don't know, six coins, 6 gold. Hello, we met our first civilization. We cannot really interact too much, but we know they're here. We know we need to expand towards the south to sort of block them as quickly as possible. They'll get this before me. That's quite sad. Let's carry on. So exploring. I find it very cool to start with a scout thopter. Not every civilization starts with a thopter, um, but this really allows us to grab us. You know, you see, I can just boop, grab this one um, from our enemy. But this is very bad. Like, these smugglers will probably kill my scout, so that was it. It's awesome to start with a scout, and then you die. And this does create quite a bit of a problem, because now my scout is dead. And what do? Now we can risk going to Faith. Maybe nobody else cares as much, and we get to found the Shaykhulud and then build monuments. Maybe. Arrakis habitation is also interesting. Ugh. Yeesh. You know what? Let's try for it. This is just a showcase. Maybe we won't go that far, but maybe if we can swipe one religion from under somebody else's nose, I think we're going to be in a good position. So this gives me some gold. That's not very interesting. We get bonuses to water caches, and we want to create one. The point is, I think the way that this works, we get 9 commerce, so extra citizens don't give production, but they can potentially work. Don't give extra science, but they can potentially work better plots and leverage that. So we're gonna build up our town just a little bit, get to population 2, and then we're going to start settling. This is also not extremely smart to just leave, just wander around and leave your town completely undefended. It's not the smartest thing that you can do. So we will have to create additional troops. You can get away with it for a very short time. Now, this is another thing. So, wind traps, they can only be built one tile away from each other. So, let's say if this town works this fat cross, if we build a wind trap here, the other one can only be built here. Do we need as many wind traps? I don't know, because we have a hill here, one here, and we'll potentially want another city here. So if we want to wind trap 1, 2, 3. No, I think this is decent. But this is one thing to consider, like, how am I going to distribute my wind traps on a mesa chain so that cities can get maximum benefit from it, right? Like right here, if I want 2 wind traps, I need to build one on this tile and one on this tile, because they cannot be adjacent to each other. Let's get that goodie hut. Let's build a... should I build a scout? Let's build a scout doctor. Huh. So... I guess the game decided for me. Oh, this is a vulture. This is a fat one. That's awesome. That's a big one. Okay, you guy, you can come home. This is House Corino. We just met a bit earlier today. Oh, this is strength 5. This is very strong, but it starts with poorly maintained. So it's really bad until we reach light manufacturing. And with light manufacturing, we can basically remove this malice. It's just that you don't go, you get this one and you start conquering people, because 5 strength at the beginning is very, very good. But that answered our question, so we can go and build soldiers. We could do an arena first and then some soldiers, but I want to start building settlers as fast as possible, and the soldiers, they will be done Oh. And this is another lesson. Don't do this when going into the desert, because this worm will now kill me. So, goodbye. And there you go. Right? Lessons learned. Don't just when you go to the desert, just be careful. You'll be eaten. You will be eaten. Okay, so Karthag is growing nicely. And Shai-Hulud has been founded. So, scratch the faith. Let's move towards education. That's not the end of the world. We know how to build things. This is another trap that we can get into. So building the Stone of Prophecy takes a lot of turns, but we'll create a monument free in every city that we build, which is not a bad idea. But again, I don't recommend doing this normally. This is a trap. This is a trap. Because if somebody, reached faith, they will be able to build this as well. And the other problem is that, while we're building the Stone of Prophecy, we're not building settlers. So that's a problem. Right, so we lost the scouting game because we were not careful. We can take this guy and move him home. And in the meantime, we'll just look at these numbers go. And he was killed. And he was killed by a water stealer. And we didn't see the water stealer. This is the biggest nuisance, the biggest barbarian nuisance. This is a strong unit. It has strong strength 3 instead of 2. And it will pillage stuff. It will kill your starting units. But more importantly, if it gets close to a city, the water yields of the city will drop. Water transportation, don't care about that. Oh, Spice Bloom, oh my god. Work faster, slaves. And you see, we kind of see him here. They have a bonus if they come close to Kartag, for example, they will start leaching out the water. Just like that. Okay. You see, you risk, sometimes you succeed. So let's start settling. And another thing, once we get the habitation, this is something that we do want, and it's close, and we'll learn habitation. But then let's go to spice extraction before moving towards other things. Now feudalism is not as important. Great houses is though. But Arrakis habitation, spice extraction, education, and then I'm jumping a bit ahead of myself. So let's just do this, and then we'll see. We'll adapt. We'll adapt when the time comes. Maybe I should have let this grow to 5. How many turns does it take? 3 turns to grow and 3 turns to build a soldier. That might make more sense. So let's do that. We get better protection, get better yields. This guy already put a city down, which is concerning. But we waste our time with some other stuff. And let's get oppression. So now we can actually whip and build things faster. So now it costs 2 population to whip this settler. Let's give it one more turn. I think 1 population is about 30. So we save 3 turns on the settler by paying, if you will, 1 population. And we get some production overflow, which we can turn into a clinic, so that our cities grow faster. Let's move in here. I think it's an okay plot for what we want to do. And let's get another worker then. Um, this area is infested with worms, so that's gonna be a problem when it comes to... Oh my god! 3 worms. That's terrible. But maybe we get lucky. So yeah, this is why we need spice extraction. It's gonna take a little while until we can actually extract the spice from there, and that means 5 turns. But we do need to do it as fast as possible. And once we get all that set up, we can move into the next, let's say, section. Now, if we examine the city, it grows in 7 turns. We're working as much water as we can. We might want to bring another settler and start working these resources as soon as possible. And I think that's not a very dumb idea. Our workers are doing fine. Okay, so our first harvester down. Let's put in some more effort into building these things. And what I really want here is an arena, because I want to start building soldiers as fast as I can. And you see, that's another thing. We lost the spice plot, because the spice really moves. Like, some of these resources will disappear, some of them will appear again. You know, you see here there's a lot of movement. Spice kind of changed. So this is again quite cool, even though we lost that particular spice resource and we cannot work it anymore, and we don't have access to this because of the worms. It is very cool though. So what can we do with this guy? Not much. We can start building these houses, but we won't be able to work them anytime soon. We won't be working them anytime soon. These guys are doing just fine. But as soon as we put a city down, and this is another change of pace. Let's go for survival and then education. Because if we start putting our desert survival allows us to harvest these resources, so the bushes and so on, and these give health bonuses, and we want that. So we'll be able, with our little worker, to exploit these and send them to the other cities, which is quite cool. We will need an extra soldier. Don't go unescorted. That's a bad idea. Let's say here looks like a good place. We get access to this. A lot of spice around. And is a bit of a chokehold. Not a super relevant, but a little bit. So let's do an arena as well, because we want to build as many, as very good troops, as good as we can. And plop, city down, and build a water cache. Now I want to go and work this spice as fast as possible, right? This, in order to sustain, because I'm losing money. I'm losing a lot of money right now, and this affects my my science yields. So as much as I want to build water traps and so on, we really need harvesters as soon as possible. Don't delete the unit, just fortify. So we need to get the commerce yields from those spice tiles as fast as we can. So we got desert survival, that's great. This gives us the bonus that's too small to count. We can build a scout though, so we can see things a bit better. Building these basic soldiers is not necessarily worth it. As you see now, I'm losing a lot of turns just through we're gonna get to okay. Now here though, building a refinery does make sense, because Kartag is really yielding a lot of money. No, extra soldiers, but not too many. I like to have about 2 per city, just in case one of them dies and it's on some freak accident. You have a second one as a backup. So having 2 soldiers is not bad at all. I'm gonna need an extra worker here though um, to actually. And this is again whenever you send them like this, they go to the desert, and if it happens to have a worm nearby or something, they'll get eaten. So again, be careful and try to walk one step at a time whenever you traverse these things. So you see now the commerce from these things is already starting to yield results. Now I'm building a refinery, so that makes it even better. We got our soldiers ready. I would like to move to idle, but it's just gonna defend, not maximum. Just gonna explore. And there's another thing, our map is centered, so I'm gonna show you something really cool if I can. And I'm already, I'm already quite I'm already at 65% science, which is not very good. I'm going to need to do something about that. Now we can build these dew collectors for extra food. And as you've seen, I had to run away because a sandworm is coming and is going to eat one of these harvesters. I'm really plagued by it. So sandworms are a major problem and need to be taken care of as soon as possible. Now I can switch to idle. Idle will give me more money and also bonus to science. And the reason is the basic soldier is really very weak. Upgrading them is very expensive. And I'd rather get your education as fast as possible. Oh boy, goodbye. Education will allow me to do several relevant things. We do need to discover as many civilizations as we can. Let's move into more idleness. Okay, let's build a bit more wind traps. Is there nobody else really? Alright. Clinics are quick, so why not? So now we have 2 of these bush resources. We can potentially start trading with the others. So with Risesh, Shes, they have dates which they can share, but I have nothing good to offer. And with Corino we cannot trade because we just can't reach them. We don't know where they are and we cannot reach them. And this is another thing regarding trading. So, and this is where another side comes in. This bottom side, maybe Dune topography and desert trade. So each of these resources enables trade across certain types of land. So exploration, rock on Graben. And again, I think that refers to this. So whatever's rock. I don't know if Graben means this rugged, but basically these, with desert exploration, these we can trade between. Sink Graben, okay. So trade can flow as long as there's a rock connection from a place to another one, right? We don't have to create roads, but trade immediately happens. So for example, I have a trade route. Each town has a basic trade route at the beginning. And I trade with Yalbash Rock, which is, I don't know, this one. So these two towns are able to trade, and I am able to trade with, via this rock and graben towards this area, so I can trade with Riches, but Corino is probably on a different continent, and we can't get there at the moment. What Desert Trade does is enables trades on Dune, Rugged, okay, on Dunes and Rugged. Okay, so Rugged is this one, is this dark tile. So if we're separated by rugged terrain, we cannot trade at the moment. And Dune, it's interesting, which one is the Dune? Rock Graben, Sink. Huh. Deep Desert? I haven't actually looked into this. I don't know what dunes means. Grassland and anchor grass, that's terraformed land. That's basically the equivalent of rugged. But dunes, I don't know. But dune topography really allows me to trade across any land, like polar, desert waste, salt, deep desert. Deep desert waste is twice over here, but that's okay. So basically, dune topography allows me to trade with anybody from anywhere, and that includes trades such as these resources, money, and so on, right? So I can trade with this guy, but I cannot trade with House Corino because they're probably on a different continent. So that's again, if I care about trade, these things are very, very important, and I kind of do at the moment. I kind of do. But I'm curious what this dunes means. Can I? No, I can't. So education, that's good. The next thing on the list, though, we'll talk about it next turn. So thing is, we got education, that's great. The next thing though is if we want to, let's say we want to attack, we have two options. We have the quad option, but the quad has a malus to city strength. Quad is the first mechanical unit. It's a little rover, and this is kind of like a cavalry unit. It moves fast. It's a bit better on attacking on grasslands and rocks and so on, but it sucks at attacking cities. But then on the other hand, we have the Bladesman, which is really our attack unit. So we care about the Bladesman and we want to build it. This is one aspect. The second one is the Great Houses tech is founds this religion, which is basically the money religion. So we kind of have to choose between these two. I would like to open up the Bladesmen, and we'll create a few Bladesmen, and then we'll attack Riches because they're right next to us, and we don't like them. We want to see them destroyed. We're gonna have to unidle our guys a little bit. Not this city though. Not right now, because we do need to... Alright, Fremen. We do need to get this resource, to get this research faster, rather than not as fast. Okay, so now that we have education, we can actually start trading technologies. But nobody wants to part with anything. So nobody likes us, which is okay. She wants this for free. You're already way ahead. Now, you kind of... You want to be diplomatic as much as possible. Bene Gesserit. Oh, they want to trade a bunch of things. So I'm going to get these two. I've already, started researching defense tactics, so it's not as efficient. But Bene Gesserit, they're low on score. They don't have as much So we're just happy to trade and get a bit of a jump. Oh, you see? This water stealer might actually destroy my scout again. Which is okay. We can sacrifice some population to build this. I want to. I believe... I don't know how much this one population... So cost 2 population, 25 overflow. 25 overflow. I don't know. We have 70... No, 65... 25... 40, so each population is 20 production? Or each is 30? I'm just being dumb. Anyway, maths. I have to do the maths some other time. But I can either wait for this to finish or whip them now and just get it done. And then we'll be growing in 8 turns. Whoosh, that's a lot. We're working all food tiles, that's okay. My scout opter was killed as expected. Now we can start working on this one, maybe. You know, we already built so many wonders, like why not? We can't afford. We can't afford anything else. Let's go get this. There's so much, oh, so much free spice. We can work this one here, this one here. Let's go here. Okay, I'm not gonna give you anything. He hates me. The Fremen are very aggressive. And we get a profit. What do we do with it? We can learn stuff, we can discover Golden Age, or we can sell them for hammers and money. Which, at this point, I feel like it's the most valuable thing that we can do. And this allows you know, with just one free profit, we can work at 85% efficiency. Let's make an arena here just in case. I'm gonna need to bring as many troops as we can to the table. Build spice harvesters everywhere. So we're not we're not doing great. We're at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to technologies and such. But we're also playing on a very high difficulty, and we did several mistakes already. We made several mistakes. We can... And another thing is, for example, we cannot work the spice that's deep inside of the desert. And the reason is we can basically only work the coastal tiles right now. And we need still suits. We need technology in order to go deeper. So we need still suits, which allows us the sand workers to be created. So all of our guys turn into sand workers, and they're able to go deeper into the sand. So if we really... This would be another thing which is worth prioritizing. But a bit later. What else can we do that's relevant? Extra defense, extra science. Let's build some mines. Build some more spice extractors. Now I wanna attack you, so I'm not gonna give you anything for free. Spoiler alert. Ay. So now I have this really cute choke point here, which I'd like to defend. So I will build infantry unit. An infantry unit is built in 4 turns. That's fine. I don't need to exaggerate with anything. This requires desert plantation, this as well. This requires better suits. Yeah, there's not much work to be done over here. We can just build some mines. I think mines have a small chance of discovering minerals, so we could just do that and hope that we do. And we can always sort of switch out of them eventually. Alright, so here we are. Oh my god. I hate these guys. They're terrible. I hate these guys, they're terrible. This one, 6 turns. So let's start pumping out swordsman. Alright, good job. Good job, and here we go. Our first slave. And this slave has several uses. Let's do this. We're gonna send him to the capital and see what we can do with him. Building an arena, and afterwards we're also gonna start working on bladesmen. Filmbook archives, they cannot be whipped yet. We need 3 pops. Alright. Let's move here, maybe protect our assets a little bit better. This guy's damaged. He must have seen some, he must have been hit by a sandstorm. This is another thing that you see floating around. The sandstorms, they're bad. They'll destroy your things. They will damage your units. And the water stealer is going straight for my harvester. That's wonderful. Thank you. At least our workers won't get bored. So this one is done in 2 turns. Awesome. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So what I can do is make him join as a palace slave. And I think if I have an arena, we're supposed to also be able to... And this happens with every captured soldier. I think with an arena, this is supposed to also... Okay. Can I do battle with a slave? Can I do battle with a slave? Okay, we did this. Now this is a good choice. Do I get forge works for like extra production, or do I build swordsman? I think swordsman as many as I can makes most sense. Now this guy, you see he's on the desert. There's nothing I can do to him. I can't reach him. It's quite annoying. Let's build just more mines. This spice here is unattainable. No slave to fight. Okay. Okay, never mind. Let's get more of these guys. And the worm is coming. I wish a worm gets you. Son of a. That's so painful. I just give them all city whatever bonuses. That's what can you do? I can actually put down some of these extra things. Ah, hello. Okay, we're done with that. With that stupid thing. What I'll do, I'll automate you to just improve spice resources as much as you can. They're going to be fairly careful to avoid the worms. My guys are not very happy. Not having a religion also doesn't help. And I missed it by 2 turns, which is so sad. You see, if I don't know, if I maybe managed my my commerce a bit better, I could have snagged it. I did what I had to do, but again, mistakes were made, and quite a few. So maybe we want another swordsman over here. Razzia command has been built. That's also not a big deal. The only thing that I can hope for is that some of these wonders were built by these guys. I don't think so, but one can dream. So now I have a pretty solid little army. I'm researching desert plantation because I think I don't want to fight you. But I'm happy to give him light manufacturing. There's a long-standing vendetta between us. What? You know what? I won't give you tribute again. And I refuse to help them. They don't like me. They don't like me one bit. Which is understandable. Let's make some quads. Oh, we can start doing some science. The point that I wanted to make was I wanted to also, maybe before, you know what, you also do the spice. Instead of a quad, let's make a scouting a scout-topter, because I want to again showcase something before closing this. We've been doing this for over an hour, and I just want to show you something before closing this. So I'm gonna move to harsh conditioning. So harsh conditioning is another interesting one because it upgrades the swordsman. I kind of like to start attacking when I have harsh conditioning soldiers, swordsmen. But this is okay as well. Oh boy. Bladesman, quad, rocket trooper. Eesh. Alright. That's that's it's excellent. It's very successful. Thank you. That was like extremely lucky. That was extremely lucky. Okay, so now we can build plantations. We can improve our guys' happiness a little bit and maybe the health. And the scouts will go this way. Wow, that was excellent. So there we go. Let's start all over again. And let me check it. We got an arena, we got a forge works, we got a bunch of things over here. So let's install a new government. Let's bring the slave together. And so our soldier can also... I do have an arena, don't I? Yeah. Maybe it takes a turn. Let's see. Wow, that was very good. Unsurprisingly well. Well, no, the other word. Surprisingly well. Okay. I can't fight the slave in the arena, but probably we need to have the arena active or something like that. Alright. Alright. I do want some infantry to defend my guys. But with this luck we could probably take out their capital. do this thing here. And can you imagine if we actually manage to upgrade these soldiers soon? To harsh conditioning ones. We'll be even more successful. Now this is a problem though. And we're gonna wait for you here. I'm gonna wait for them there. Because we're really... Oh, you know what? We can just... Not very good. We can build a shield generator. That's gonna stave off this mess. So we can potentially lose a lot of troops fighting the quads, which is quite bad. But alternatively, maybe we can... Can I get this? Can I get this? We can actually decide to have a peace, then we switch to feudalism, we upgrade our soldiers, then we attack again. Unfortunately, we can't take anything like money or whatever. But yeah, that's okay. We got one city. The Fremens won't talk to us. The Bene Gesserit might. Let's go with open borders. And Corino, we also need to be as friendly as possible. Okay. Large works. We need money, man. As many as we can. Is there anything that we can improve here? No. Alright, who are you? Corino. That's okay. Alright, so let's do... No? Ah, they need to have less than 5 XP. Okay. So let's say... Bam. And I got some free XP. That's fine. I sacrificed the poor guy for some extra experience. We can... Yeah, that's fine. We learned something. Maybe some extra infantry units might make sense, and just put them here in this choke point. Ooh, serfdom. Hereditary rule, extra units, oppression is okay, but we lose 1 turn. Yeah, let's do it. We need all the money we can get, and we probably lose quite a bit on maintaining our troops. And if I'm gonna make a chokehold here, I wanna have a quad as well to help. Oh, here you go, money. I'm not gonna give you anything, sorry. Sorry, my man. Aha, and now we see this, right? This is where I wanted to this is what I wanted to take a look at. Okay. This. Let's move over here. Let's move over here. Let's set on high alert. So, as you see, our map is centered because I built that wonder. And here we already see polar. So we are on the northern hemisphere. The continents are all around this pole in the center. And once we explore a bit deeper, we're gonna see something interesting. I hope. Yes. want to be friends with you. Okay, move over here. So we get this resource, which is unique to the pole. I'll just defend, it's fine. Which is unique to the pole. It's the polar ice. And this gives health, this gives tons of yields. Like, look at this, +3 food, +7 commerce. This is tons of yields. And more importantly, in cities that are not at the pole, I can build a building that's called a polar water shipper. So we can ship water from the North Pole to our cities and increase the water yields. That's very, very cool. That's very, very cool. So the idea is this place has unique, it also has mineral resources which can be very valuable, especially for special units at the end of the game, towards the mid to late game. And this is going to be the place where we duke it out, really, with everybody else. And in order to reach there, this is another thing. Whereas now I'm working towards harsh conditioning because I kind of want to take this guy out, the Richesse civilization. I just want to remove them from the map. Imperialism. Yeah, I was thinking of maybe vassalizing him. Vassalizing him might be very valuable, but in order to vassalize him, I need this imperialism tech, which is so far away. So harsh conditioning for these bladesmen. So I'm also saving money because I'm going to have to upgrade some of them. Law of Arrakis again, in order to this is going to be this is actually more important. Because Law of Arrakis allows me to build these slave pits, which really decreases the maintenance of my cities. This is very important. Okay, never mind, I'll do this. It's also very fast. 9-10 turns, that's okay. In order to sustain a large empire. But we need suspensor devices. So suspensor devices allows us to build light carryalls, which are the first type of carryall. And this might be something that we want to do. And we need that in order to get in here and start settling this area. It's very important. Does this mean you can invest in something that's more valuable? There's some extra. Yeah. Yeah, so from here on in, this is basically all that we do. Well, scratch that now. But we have an idea on where we're going. So House Richesse, we already have, because we wasted, let's say we wasted time, energy and resources on wars, and because it's very difficult to keep up with the commerce, especially with all these worms sort of roaming around, we missed an important religion, the Quam religion, which really allows us to rake in more cash and sort of keep up with the technologies. Well, we're still I feel like in a decent spot to remove these guys from the map as soon as possible. We can even strike now with this army. I feel like we're gonna do decently well against Richesse. Just take this city. We're gonna get another city here, and that's that. But we lost the race to the pole, so we probably won't be able to settle any cities here. And it's, again, having a religion is very important because sharing religions with other civilizations will make them like you so much better. And so they will trade techs. So trading techs is very important. Um, and yeah, and this is just the very beginning. Things really go crazy from here. So um, the spies, we didn't even talk about spies. Each civilization has a unique type of spy. Law of Arrakis gives us the traitor, because we're Harkonnen. And the traitor, what it does, among other things, they have some standard spy missions. They, affect their culture or health or what have you. They can defend against other spies, but each civilization has a unique type of spies. For example, the Bene Gesserit um, will be able to just steal cities. They go to an enemy city and they speak the truth, and so the city converts to you with all the buildings inside of it, for example. And the Harkonnen one, there's a very cool thing where it just lowers the city defenses for a turn to zero. So I can bring my troops. This one has a 35%. Okay, now it's not as important because my guys already, a bladesman will ignore 2/3 of the defenses. So if we divide this by 3, we get 6%. That's not the end of the world. But once you have like in the hundreds, 100 percentages, that's going to be very relevant. And you bring in tanks, which don't ignore defenses and so on. So you go with a traitor, you lower defenses to zero, smash your army into the city, and you take it. Pretty much. Pretty much that. So that's one way to do it. And then the Harkonnen at the very, very, very late game, they have the Devastator Tank, which is very expensive. It requires a lot of resources. Stravidium is very rare. Diamonds, okay, they're rare enough. And this is a very late game technology, but they have the strongest unit in the game, which is this monstrous tank with strength 28, which is huge. Just as a comparison to the normal heavy tank, this is 22, this is 28. This is huge. This is a monstrous tank. Somewhere to mid game, we're getting close to it. This technology, offer trade, will let you access an extra button here, and with this button you can pretty much this is a spy. We didn't bring any spies to the table, so it's useless to talk about this, but with this extra button that arrives at off-world trade, you can basically ship in units from your home world. So you will have a list of units, and you can just transport them to the field, to any of the cities that you want, after paying a fee. Of course, you need to pay in order to bring units from the off-world, and that's a very good mechanic for civilizations that are commerce oriented, that can bring a lot of money, and they can just simply ship in units and use them to attack or defend or what have you. And then not only that, but the off-world trade gives you 2 landing stages, where you can bring very, very useful resources from off-world. So unique unit contracts, you can get things that give you extra health and happiness and what have you. It's very, very good. So this really, the off-world trade technology really initiates the mid-game, as far as I'm concerned. Mental discipline also very good. You can build mentat units, which are used to special. You can make 3 units that specialize your cities in various ways, and you can let's say make one mentat that grants extra production, and one that grants extra money. And once you're done with the production in the city, you move into another one to build like a specific wonder or what have you. It's very, very cool. Very, very, very cool. A lot of cool mechanics. Yeah, and in the late game, interesting is that at the beginning, we really didn't care about any sort of strategic resources. We don't have any. Well, we don't see any. We don't care about them. We start caring about these resources in the late game, around 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 here really, with the medium scorpions. Yeah, somewhere here, we suddenly start caring about resources because without diamonds, you cannot build tanks, you cannot build uh, guardsman units. The latest type. Um, okay, we care about crystals a little bit, but crystals are not that rare for the aerial stuff. But really, the diamonds in the Stravidium, we start caring about them around this. Nitrates for missile launches, nitrates and crystals. They do come in mid game, but late mid game, but they're really not as interesting for most civilizations. I guess we care about this. Death Sand Missile is a stone burner that we get very early. We get very early. And also requires these, but we'll get there when we get there. It's basically a ballistic missile that can screw up units on the field. Yeah, and another thing is the science. Let's say there's no particular science victory condition, right? You just build these monitor ship parts or projects, right? That build different parts, monitor hull, electrical system, power system, and so on. And once you build the last one, you build all of these systems, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once you do all of these, you get access to, let's go to units. Once you build all these, you just get this monitor warship created, which is a strength 50 monstrous flying unit that starts with blitz, which means it can attack multiple times a turn. And yeah, this is not a flat victory condition, but this will help you reach your victory condition. Strength 50 is immense. As you see, the best unique unit on the ground and in the air is 28 strength, whereas this victory condition unit is 50 strength. The problem is once this is destroyed, it's gone for good. So you need to protect it. But or be careful with it. But it's a monstrous ship. This is the equivalent of the science victory condition. Otherwise, there's some interesting things in here. For example, okay, you get the classic ones times conquest, domination, cultural. Cultural is kind of silly, but it's here. But then you get terraforming victory condition, so you need to control a large number of terraformed plots. And if you do, you win. Spice monopoly, which means you need to control most of the spice that's in the world. Holy war. Well, religious, you need a lot of religion influence. Basically, spread your religion everywhere. But holy war is a combination between religious and domination. So you need to control only 39% of land area as opposed to 55, for example. So you need to control a lot of land and spread your religion. You get the diplomatic one, which is really the same as before. And you get the water fat, which is, I think, the ones that I really like the most. You just need to have 3 really big cities. So 33 population is difficult to achieve. So one, you need to, you need to have the proper land. You need to terraform it. And you need to ship in a lot of water from the pole. And then with the proper wonders and such, you can really win a water fat victory. So yeah, this is it. Can actually whip this for 2. I cannot whip this yet. Yeah, so this is it. If you want to see like a long play, maybe properly played, um, do leave a comment, and I'll do my best. They do get to be quite long, and towards the very late game, I kind of tend to zone out. But it would be an interesting experiment. Yeah, I think this is all I wanted to say about this, overall sort of presentation of what this is. Um, and I hope you all have a wonderful year, and see you whenever I release the next video. Thanks for watching until the end, by the way. You're great. Goodbye.